Thank you guys for coming.
Virgil Ortiz's latest win has not only caused chaos in the boxing world, but also among the top partners of Golden Boy Promotions.
So, I'm not fooled by what people might be.
After feuding with Canelo Banga and Shakur Stevenson, Oscar De La Hoya has chosen his partner Bernard Hopkins as his next victim to see. Yeah, he won, but will he win this way with Crawford? Finally, Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins are back to where they started after a heated argument got so serious that it almost led to a brawl until those on the scene got in between them to separate them.
Yeah, he won, but will he win this way with Crawford?
Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins have been business partners for years, and there's been no animosity between them until now. So what could cause this sudden uproar in the camp?
Hey, yeah, I was talking to Bernard right.
Promotions who nice shot over the top. Well, a Golden Boy fighter had one of the most controversial wins of the year on Saturday night, and it raised several questions among fans and professionals of the sport shockingly. One of those who didn't find the win so convincing was Bernard Hopkins, who honored an interview after the fight and spoke doubtfully about Ortiz's win and his future. This was the genesis of their
Whoa, nice shot!
While Bernard Hopkins wasn't so pleased with the win, Oscar De La Hoya was so overconfident that he blasted the boxing knowledge of those who questioned the win. This clash of opinions wasn't really brought up in the first few hours after the fight until Oscar De La Hoya learnt of Bernard Hopkins' interview. While Bernard Hopkins sounded quite doubtful, Oscar De La Hoya isn't holding back.
It was a close fight. Virgil attacked the entire night.
The legendary promoter took to social media in a fiery defense of his fighter Virgil Ortiz Jr. following the young boxer's controversial victory over WBC interim junior middleweight champion Shahi Bohachek. The fight, which went down last Saturday night, has been the talk of the boxing world, and not in a good way. Fans are buzzing, and De La Hoya's social media rant only poured gasoline on the fire.
Deserves all the credit in the world.
The controversy centers on the CompuBox stats, which De La Hoya decided to post as a rebuttal to the criticism Virgil Jr. has been facing. But Virgil won. Why do you feel he won in your opinion? But here's the kicker. The stats didn't do Ortiz any favors according to the numbers. Bohachek outperformed Ortiz, but the judges didn't see it that way, much to the dismay of fans who believed the Nevada judges were off their game that night.
How he looks, how he executes, and how he wins.
De La Hoya's response was a scorching post on X, laced with frustration that you don't know about boxing and the new Virgil Ortiz.
Did they change?
Yes.
This was in contrast to Bernard Hopkins, who after the fight said it is what it is. You sometimes get ugly wins that could be questioned. I think Crawford is a bit far. He's got to get rid of this ugly performance first.
Call it the first one? Yeah, it was a slip, but Virgil Ortiz pressed the whole night.
And when they met after the Bernard Hopkins interview, Oscar De La Hoya questioned whether he would ever talk down at their fighter or support his opponent. And while he said that, Bernard Hopkins slammed him for choosing to lie and go against what's clear for all to see. This was the straw that broke Oscar De La Hoya's back, as he soon burst out in fury and thrusted himself towards Bernard Hopkins to hit him. But before he could, he was stopped by those with them.
That was a nice left hand underneath by Oscar.
Sadly, Oscar De La Hoya was barking up the wrong tree. The box doesn't lie, it just reports the punches, and those stats painted a picture that wasn't exactly flattering for Ortiz Jr. despite De La Hoya's best efforts. Fans know what they saw, and they're not buying the narrative he's trying to sell. In the aftermath, De La Hoya, along with Ortiz's trainer, Robert Garcia, wasted no time calling out Terence Crawford as the next opponent for Ortiz Jr.'s bold move. But is it the right one? The backlash from the Boychuk fight isn't going away, and jumping into a fight with Crawford without addressing the controversy could spell disaster for the PB numbers.
I'm setting him up with the jab. I believe I threw a jab, and then I leaned to the left and hit him right into the liver. That's one of the great body shots. Yeah, that was and that right there, I heard like a wind come out, and then I went up with a little left.
Fans don't want to see what they consider a tainted fight, and that's a risk De La Hoya should think twice about. And let's not forget Crawford's own recent bout, a questionable decision over WBA junior middleweight champ Israel Madrimov. Crawford didn't look his best, and some say he got lucky with the judges' pairing. Two fighters coming off contentious wins could be a recipe for disaster at the box office. So what's the move instead of lashing out at CompuBox and fans? De La Hoya might want to consider giving Bohachuk the rematch he deserves.
Anywhere else in games can't break, but it's ready to do. It's ready to do. So continue to keep that mind.
It's the only way to clear the air and give Ortiz Jr. a chance to prove he's the real deal if Virgil can't take care of Bohachuk cleanly. His future against top-tier talent at 154 pounds looks bleak. The reality is Virgil Ortiz Jr. might not be the next big thing. De La Hoya is hyping him up to be a tough book, and I said it was going to be a fight of the year, as one insider put it. Ortiz is looking more like a modern-day Alfredo Angulo, a solid fighter sure, but not someone who's going to dominate the sport, and if he doesn't get it together, he's going to hit a wall real soon on fight night. Virgil Ortiz Jr. refuted all that Sarai Book and the boxing world threw at him Saturday night, enduring 2 knockdowns and the gripes that he had never gone the distance by winning a heartfelt junior middleweight majority decision at Mandalay Bay. Big right hand for Boa, and another one. Texas Ortiz won by scores of 1-1-3, 1-1-3-4, 112, 114, 112 by answering knockdowns in the first and 8th rounds with voluminous power punches, while those hammering blows have reduced so many other foes to oblivion. Ukraine's Bohachuk was an immovable object, taking the shots to the head and body and continually responding with power rights and resilience. Braun Boom and B will write back that forced Ortiz into the deep waters past the 9th round for the first time in his career, and while it appeared Ortiz might be headed to his first defeat, he rallied impressively in the 11th and 12th, finally sending Bohachuk reeling in the final frame to gain the decisive margin. Ortiz said it was due to his lifelong consistency of showing up at the gym and living cleanly since childhood. "I'm the best in the world," he said after strapping on the WBC interim junior middleweight belt he took from Bohachuk's other worldly recuperative abilities from Bohachuk. He might indeed have the chance to prove it too, because Saudi Arabia's boxing power broker, Turki Al-Sheikh, was sitting ringside after told Dan he wanted a victorious Ortiz 26 to meet newly belted 4-division and WBA junior middleweight title holder Terence Crawford. "Let's do it," a smiling Ortiz said. "I want it so bad." The action was instantly riveting, with Ortiz unleashing heavy bomb rights and referee Harvey Dock calling it a first-round slip when a Bohachuk right landed cleanly to the head. Replay employed before the 5th round reversed the call and gave Bohachuk a knockdown in a 10-8 round back right hand around Ortiz. Shea wasn't hurt by sending hard blows toward Bohachuk throughout the round's remainder. The exchange was more of a mutual affair in the 2nd and 3rd as each man landed crushing blows that were both encouraging and discouraging because neither man backed or budgeted, while Ortiz belted Bohachuk with a wicked right uppercut. Bohachuk answered with a straight right that didn't pause the relentless fighter who had known nothing but knockout triumphs. A small cut on the bridge of Ortiz's nose emerged in the 4th.